Hi, my name's Adam. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about old age security and the 10% enhancement that you will get at age 75. And this was introduced back in the summer of 2022. We actually haven't done a video on that. It was kind of all over the news, so we kind of left it out. But what I want to do a video on today is not just the 10%, that's easy to calculate. But does a 10% bump at age 65, does it make it more enticing to delay or defer that old age security closer to age 70? If you delay it, as you know, you get 0.6% increase every single month that you delay old age security. And if we delay it closer to 70, that means we're gonna collect more, which means that the 10% bump is going to give us a bump on a larger amount, giving us more money. So what I want to do is I'm going to show the planning software today. I'm going to share my screen here with you and go through CPP and OAS timing. But I want to look at CPP and OAS at 65. The increase, if you delay your CPP till 70, but keep OAS at 65, or taking both of them at age 70. And I want to show you the difference, and hopefully this will help kind of guide your mindset in when should I take CPP, when should I take OAS. Now, everybody's situation is very different. So I just delivered a plan. I just got off a Zoom call delivering a financial plan to a couple. Kind of the sweet spot for them was age 68, 69 for CPP, 65 for old age security. And if they wanted a laddered income, they actually had to take their CPP closer to 65 just to give them the cash flow that they wanted. So again, not typical, but everyone's plan is different. And that's the point with this. Now, look at the differences in delaying CPP and delaying OAS, and a couple kind of key points I'm going to make around those things. So let's look at the case of Dave and Ruth YouTube. Now, Dave and Ruth YouTube are 57 years old and they're looking to retire at 60. And they have $250,000 each in their RRSPs and $50,000 each in their TFSAs. Now, don't worry about how much they have in investments and saving and all that. All we're looking at is the government benefits. So if I go into our planning software here and click on government benefits, you can see we've started both CPP at age 65. I've put it at 56.06%. Now that is the national average for CPP here in Canada. So I've left it at the average. So it's not higher or lower, it's right on the average. So I know I'm gonna get comments on that. So we've left it at the average. Now, old age security, same thing. We've left that at the average 100%, most people get. And at age 65. So this here has them both taking the national average for CPP at age 65 and the max or the average for old age security. So that's what we have. And at age 65, if I go into a combined view here, you'll see the combined income after tax in their pocket from now until age, if I scroll down all the way down to age 95, is this $53,920. So if this client, Dave and Ruth, have currently, they're 3 years from retirement, have about $500,000 saved in RSP and $100,000 in TFSA, don't make any more contributions, take their CPP and old age security at 65, they're gonna run an income of just shy of $54,000. Now let's look at the same scenario. The only difference here is I've delayed their CPP until age 70. So if we jump again into the government benefits here, you'll see that I've kept it at the national average, 56.06%, but I've bumped the start age to age 70. Old age security, I've left at age 65 for both of them. Again, if I go into Ruth, same situation there, national average 56.06 and age 70 with OAS at age 65. So if I go into their planning here now, again, I haven't added any assets into here. I've just deferred that CPP, but starting at age 60 all the way to age 95, their income jumps from $53,920 all the way up to $55,790, or an increase of $1,870 per year. So obviously deferring CPP till 70 makes a lot of sense for them. It's giving them more money from age 60, from date of retirement, all the way to 95. And basically what happens is between 60 and 70 is that RSP meltdown they would do. So they look at some tax efficiency. I haven't built that into this plan necessarily, but it's more, what's the general number? And so from 60 to 70, they're gonna live off more of their own money, defer that guaranteed pension to later on from the government in the form of CPP, and then get a larger CPP, which is guaranteed government income, indexed with inflation later on in life. So again, this gives them $1,870 more just by delaying CPP. And this is what I talk about. for most people, if you can afford it, it makes sense to defer your CPP. Now let's take a look at the third scenario. Now this scenario is, again, the same numbers put in there. We've deferred the CPP and we've deferred the old age security. So if we defer the old age security till 70 as well, so you can see down here, we have Dave taking it at 70. Ruth is doing the same, taking her OAS at 70. So both CPP and OAS at age 70. It's going to show you there's a bit of a bump. So if I go to their combined income, on the left-hand side here in real dollars, you'll see that bump goes up to $56,465, which is an increase by deferring OAS, is an increase of $675. So here's the breakdown. Just by deferring CPP, it increases their income by $1,870. If they also defer OAS, it's going to increase another $675, which tells me that deferring CPP is about 3 times as valuable as deferring OAS. That's just the numbers behind it. So even though it's 0.6% versus 0.7, there's kind of more that goes into it. And when you run it in planning software and work with the taxes and that, we will typically find deferring that CPP makes a lot of sense. Deferring the OAS makes a little bit less sense. And time again within the software, that's how it maps out. Now, I think one other thing you want to contemplate when looking at timing of when to take CPP and OAS. And this is a perfect example of this client here. It's someone retiring at age 60. They've paid many taxes in their lifetime. They've paid into CPP. They feel like they've given the government a lot of money. If I create a financial plan for this couple and say, look, you should wait until age 70 to take both your CPP and your old age security. On paper, it sounds great. And when we put the plan together, it sounds like it's a great plan. They retire at 60. And what happens is they're drawing down their own money. And after a while, they think, man, it would make a lot of sense to just start getting money from the government so we don't touch as much as ours. And they make the bad financial decision to start drawing on CPP. So at say 63, 64, they might start CPP. And at 65, 66, they start their OAS. At the end of the day, they've derailed their financial plan. It's cost them a lot of money and their tax plan's kind of out the window as well. So what we typically would recommend for our clients is, look, defer CPP. It gives you the most financial benefit. It makes the most sense financially within your plan and for tax planning. But even though there's a small benefit to defer your old age security, we would recommend to not defer it, even with this 10% bump. And I'll show you that here in a second. But even with that bump down at 75, psychologically, it's going to make sense to say, look, 5 years, start my OAS payment. 5 years later, start CPP. So typically starting OAS at 65 or maybe somewhere between 65 and 70, it's more of a psychological play than an actual financial play. Again, I showed you. So if you're going to start one and kind of play that psychological game, make sure it's the OAS and not the CPP. So going back into the plan, again, this has them delaying OAS till 70. And it won't matter. I'll show the 65 one as well. But you can see at age 75, it goes from 14,970 all the way up to 16,000. So that's your 10% bump above and beyond CPI. You're getting that 10% bump at age 65. Again, with Ruth, same thing. At 75, sorry, at age 75 for Ruth, same thing. It's a big bump from 14,970 up to that 16. So same thing. So whether you take OAS at 65 or 70, you're going to get that 10% bump at age 75. As long as the government keeps that in place, you're going to get that bump. Now, again, based on these numbers and running the projection, my conclusion is deferring OAS till 70 to get a bump, that 10% bump on a bigger number, still isn't worth it. Yes, financially it gives you a bit of a benefit, but that CPP, deferring that CPP is still a greater benefit for 99.9% of you. Especially if you're retiring early, consider taking OAS closer to 65. Again, more for the psychological side of it, not the financial side of it. Again, if that doesn't bother you and you run a plan and OAS and CPP at 70 make the most financial sense and you can afford it, it kind of checks all the boxes, that's obviously the best decision. But again, there's more benefit for CPP and that 10% bump, it's not worth deferring just for that 10% bump. Like we saw in the plan here in the software, it doesn't offset given what CPP gives you for a benefit overall as well. So again, $1,870 benefit in this scenario for delaying their CPP and only $675 for OAS. So in this scenario, and I could run this in many different scenarios, CPP, deferring that CPP will win out every time. But hopefully this helped you out. Understand that there's a 10% bump in OAS at age 75. And does it make sense to defer OAS? I would say it does if you can afford it, but definitely only second place to deferring that CPP. So Thank you for joining us in this video. We'll see you in the next one.